In July of 1981, the Mossad riots took place in Manchester due to rising tension within the community. Within this documentary, we also attempt to identify the reasons for the riots happening, the turning point, and the change within the community it had, if any. We also explore education, opportunities, and policing, and have also been asking young people in the community that weren't here at the time of the 1981 riots about racism, policing the area that they live in, and just general perspectives on life growing up now.
I was looking out from Great Western Street, looking onto Princess Road, and just thinking, what is that?
I was at a friend's house on the other side of the estate across the road, and we heard them stoning the police station.
I was one of the kids who was out on the street protesting, and I have no regret whatsoever.
Over the entire Moss side, from Hume right back to the end of Princess Road here. All this Princess Road was the shops, they all got looted, smashed up. But
the various shops on Princess Parkway, there was a furniture shop and a bike shop, and they were both looted. And it wasn't just, let's just say it was more than just one race of people doing it.
People will say to us things like, oh, you destroyed your own shops. But to me and my friends, these weren't our shops. These were the shops that we walked into, and people who run those shops call us niggers. These were the shops that when our parents went into, we watched our parents get refused to get served because they're black. So as far as we were concerned, they weren't our shops.
most of us didn't have any jobs, we had nowhere to go. All we had was the Nile and the Reno and a couple of pubs. But there was nothing for us to do. Nobody didn't care. So people were bitter. Every day you get up and you get stopped, you get searched. And in the end, we had enough. And it caused a riot.
For me, I think the breaking point that led to the riots taking place was police oppression and also systematic oppression towards black people, especially black youth. And what those black youth seen growing up, what their parents had to endure.
A very lot of really, really bad police attitude.
Because I had my fair share of the police. I got battered from them, beat up and misidentified. You know, they said they were looking for somebody else. And they got me and I got beat up from them.
People don't know what it's like to be a 10-year-old boy or 6-year-old boy and seeing your dad being called a nigger by a police officer, and you can't do nothing because you're just like that, holding his hand. Now, many of my friends, we went through this. So as far as we were concerned, we didn't like the police.
I don't ever remember a single black policeman around here. Whereas now there are.
Well, it was rough, tough. We had police brutality and we used to get stop and search on the street, regular.
The sus laws was the thing that put it over the edge. This is where police could regularly stop you and search you if they suspected that you may, for some reason, be involved in a alleged crime.
I remember coming from work, got off the bus. The riot was on Princess Road. Everybody was robbing the jewelry shop and everything, and I just stopped to look. I got arrested by the police. I had nothing to do with it, but yet still I was searched on the street, and then afterward when they find out that I had nothing to do with it, they let me go. But I still got a kick in for it from them.
You got to imagine what it was like then. It was normal to accept that a person's been arrested, they've been badly beaten, or they've ended up really severely injured and being crippled or what have you, and police get away with it.
You know, there was no real relationship with law enforcement. I don't think there's been ever a relationship, to tell you the truth. So these things have not been built.
And you've got to remember, at the same period as well, you had the National Front.
That's
you
right.
had all the general street racism that you had to deal with. You had educational racism, and then just to top it off, within your community, you'd be getting abused by police that were just bored.
What people have to understand why the police were the police were actually very patriotic to this utopian idea of what England's supposed to be. And then these West Indian kids, these African kids have come here and they've destroyed all that. And to touch back on what Dominic's saying regarding education, you could choose history. And when we was in school, the first place they started when you talked about black history is that we were slaves.
I didn't get a proper education because I had to fight in school instead of learning. The teacher didn't teach me that in school. Talk about Africa and mud hut. My teacher talked like that to me in school about mud huts. I told her back in Jamaica we don't have mud huts. And they wouldn't believe me. They show us films about Africans with spear and all that. That's what they were trying to drum into our head. Yeah. And it was rough in school.
Well, the generation that I live in now kind of feels like an opportunity is just around the corner. I feel like we're able to make something out of nothing, literally. And I think that's the one thing for me where kind of differs in generation, where we're able to just make anything out of nothing and actually have a career, you know, kind of support our families through, I don't know, football, music, and so many careers. But that kind of spark of just starting something from nothing is literally the one thing I definitely say is the difference.
From stories back then, when I was in my mum's stomach at the time the riots were going on, it really doesn't seem like anything's changed. It doesn't seem like anything changed. Police coming down on ethnic black people in around, obviously, Moss Side, Hume.
I think some of the challenges are still there in terms of poverty, in terms of mental health, just having a level playing field. Nothing's changed over the generations. Facilities are probably improved, infrastructure's improved in some aspects on the outskirts, but in the core and in the heart of the community, it's still rotten to the core, I think.
One of the main things that's changed here is back then there was a lack of information of knowing your rights and knowing what's the law and what you're entitled to and what you don't have to do if you get pulled over or whatever. So obviously we had the internet now, so like a lot more kids are clued up on, I know my rights, I don't have to get out of this car, or I don't have to, consent to a stop and search, I don't have to. So it's not, I don't think the racism's changed. I just think the access to information, there's a lot more information out there and a lot more people are clued up.
What do I think of the police in Manchester? I forgot all day.
Personally, for me, I haven't had an encounter with the police before, but I feel like people that are around me, including my friends and family, have encountered police before, and it's never really been a great experience.
It hasn't been the most pleasant. There have been incidents and cases where the police, I feel, have neglected certain communities.
Again, from the way we're being spoken to the way we're being treated, manhandled, it's one of those things which you kind of just think to yourself, oh, we are humans, right? Just because we're a different race doesn't mean we're not, the same.
There was one lad who told me this story, which was you had unmarked police vehicle come over and basically tell the group of lads that were, I think, Somali and Arab background, told them, listen, we don't care for yous. You're going to go down the same route as Donington or Gooch went down. Half of yous will either go prison or the other will be dead, and makes our job easier. I'll still get my salary and pay my mortgage and take my kids' university off the back of yous. So when the youth are being exposed to that type of policing, I think there are issues.
There's that whole community police rapport, I think that's just distanced.
What they're doing and just try and work with the people in the community. Not every single black person is bad.
You probably know a lot of the issues and there are a lot of the problems that are happening. They have the intel, but we seem to be having the same issues happening in the riots. So what has improved for the communities that have been deprived for so long?
We need investment, we need jobs. We need entrepreneurship. We need businesses to give opportunities. There's no use putting everything around us but not investing in the communities.
First of all, it's the why. Why are these younger kids, or why are we in a certain situation right now? If there's any way that the police could help, would be great. But I feel like it goes back to just understanding the individual first before anything.
You know, a lot more rights now than we did them time. Well, we wouldn't have got a job like this now. We'd have to be cleaning, warehousing, them kind of job. What the white people didn't want to do. That's what we had to do. Like clean train and buses. Those are the low class job. We didn't have no good job. When I left school, I didn't get no proper job. I was supposed to be a trainee in this paper shop, and I ended up making tea. That was the best thing I did. And sweep floor. I didn't end up training. I'm still vexed to these days. You know what I mean? Remember all them things, I'll get vexed, man. Trainee in a shop, and I end up sweeping and making cup of tea. That was what I did. Yeah. So you should see what we had to put up with.